This might be the TV that I'm looking for the home theater space. If you couldn't tell from the intro, I purchased the 85-inch X95K. This is Sony's first attempt at mini LED with the backlight powered by the cognitive processor XR and the backlight master drive. Now usually in my videos I do an unboxing, but with the X95 being an 85-inch TV, I needed to get some help. So after everything was installed and wall mounted and cleaned up, I'm going to go over the initial setup, how to set up your sound system, how to enable HDMI 2.1 for enhanced VRR and enhanced Dolby Vision, and then I'm just going to go over my initial impressions of the Sony X95K because I know there's been a lot of reviews. Some are good and some are bad. So I thought it was a good opportunity for me to go ahead and pick this version up and see how this TV actually stacks up against the competition. So first off the bat, just want to get this out the way. You may see some rolling banding, horizontal banding that you see on some video. I've been trying to do the best I can to capture this, so that's why you may see that little dark horizontal lines that's coming up on the screen. I try to do the best I can to lower my shutter speed, but when I do that, the video just looked awful where it was just slowing down the actual speed of what the TV looks like and performs. So just bear with me with this first impression. But setting up your HDMI 2.1, you remember that all Sony TVs from 2021 and 2022 only have two HDMI 2.1s. They're full bandwidth at 48. And for my use case scenario, I do have a Yamaha receiver RX88A, and that is 7 HDMI 2.1s inputs. And so I use the HDMI 3, which is eARC, which is HDMI 2.1, connected to my Yamaha receiver, while I have my Xbox Series X and my PlayStation 5 hooked up. So one thing you need to do is you have to enable eARC mode. I put it to auto, and then for pass-through, you got to make sure you set that to auto as well in order for the TV to send the signal to your receiver. And you also have to enable the eARC on your receivers that you're using that have HDMI 2.1 in order for the eARC to work. So let's go ahead and talk about the picture. So on the 85-inch version on the X95K, people want to know, do I see blooming? Yes, I do see it, but it's very minimum. I would say if I want to compare the blooming, it's right there underneath the Samsung QN900B and it's above the Samsung QN800B, which is really good for a Sony TV, which I heard a lot of negative when it comes to blooming. But on the 85-inch version, I can't speak to the 65 or 75-inch version, but the 85-inch version, I see minimal blooming, which is good. Now, it might be because of the panel. There's rumors that Sony has used a different panel on the 85-inch version compared to the 65 and 75-inch version. And also on the 85-inch version, there is more zone counts compared to the smaller versions of the X95K. So on the 85 inch, I believe is 768 local demi zones. I could be wrong, but that's what it's quoted at from what I saw online. But looking at this, I'll say this again, I see minimum blooming when it comes to this TV. Now, there's another question about the black bars, the 16:9 aspect ratio. Do I see that being raised? And it really depends on the content. I want to say yes and no. You do see raised blacks on the black bars, but they very, very minimum. And you can't tell when you're watching actual content unless you walk up to the TV and really look at it and stare at it. But it's very, very close to the Samsung, how they do the black bars. I noticed that when I had the QN900B and the QN800B, there were some black crush when I was watching some content on certain movies, but with the X95K, the 85-inch version, I didn't see no type of crushing when it comes to blacks. Everything when it comes to shadow detail, I'm really impressed with the X95K, the 85-inch version, can actually do. Now, looking at some logos, I didn't see any blooming, especially when it showed Demon Souls. So now I'm switching up to, I took some pictures because every time I try to record, you saw the rolling banding when I was recording some of this video. So the best thing I could possibly do is do pictures. But one thing I could say about the X95K, the 85-inch version, this TV is bright. If you want to know how bright this TV is, I really don't have the exact nits because I don't have any type of tools to measure that. But if you look at Shane Lee or Whisper Status, those channels will give you more of exact when it comes to nits wise. But when it comes to my comparison and what I've seen from the QN900B and the QN800B, the QN900B is brighter. Let's just say that right then and there. I will put this just below the QN900B and between the QN800B. So, which is a great thing, especially for Sony, especially when they have the lower zone counts compared to Samsung. But one thing going over this is a bright TV. The picture detail is great. The colors are vibrant. And when it comes to the detail and the specular highlights and the HDR impact, this is everything that I'm looking for when it comes to a TV for my use case scenario that I'm going to be using in the basement. And especially the price that is going for right now for the 85-inch version. When I purchased this, it was going for $4,500. But the time that this video is going to be released, I know it went up just underneath $5,000. So those are kind of like one of the reasons, well, main drivers of why I wanted to pick this TV up is because of that price. And I'm looking at the overall value because I know I can count on Sony when it comes to the processing. So switching back to the narrow black bars, this is something I want to really harp. So on the X95K, the 85-inch version, this is one thing that I think Sony did an awesome job. Remember in my previous review on the QN900B and the QN800B, that's one thing that Samsung was struggling with was the narrow black bars. I don't know why. It could have been just the size TV that I had at the time. I had the 65-inch, so that might play into a factor if you're thinking about getting those TVs. Maybe the larger panels would do or perform better when it comes to those narrow black bars, but that's one thing that it was struggling with. Switching to Spider-Man into the Spider-Verse, black bars are black. Now this one, I try to do the best I can to show some of the blooming on the 85-inch X95K. So you can see here, I'm playing Dracula Untold Story. At the very top of this cave scene when they're holding a torch, you can see this is the blooming that I have seen. It's very, very minimum. And one thing I could say on the 85-inch version on the X95K, I think Sony did a good job with this. Now, this is what the best I could possibly do while blowing out the picture. So this is what I wanted to show that when it comes to blooming, that's what I see. Now, when it comes to HDR Impact, Sony do not disappoint when it comes to the X95K, the 85-inch version. When it comes to the HDR Impact and the specular highlights, it definitely punches you in the face, that is exactly what I enjoy about this TV. So if you want to know why I didn't get an OLED or kept the qd-oled TVs, one thing for the qd-oled TV, and I said this in my reviews before, the 65-inch is the biggest size that you could possibly get for 2022. I didn't want to get the 77-inch version in 2023 when they released because I still think that would be a little bit too small. So I really wanted to get something that was 80 and above. The reason why I didn't want to go with LG or Sony OLED TVs is just because I already have the Sony A90J in the bedroom, the 55-inch version, and I just didn't want to get the same TV. I thought about the LG G2 at the time, but I was hearing a lot of rumors or some issues with the 83-inch variant, as it not getting as bright as the 77-inch. So those are kind of like the factors I had to factor in when it comes to purchasing my TV. So that's why I went with the 85-inch X95K. Now, I am going to test this TV out first to see if I'm really going to keep this TV, but I'm definitely going to show a lot more video content on the X95K, so please anticipate that. I will do some more comparison in the future. People ask me some more comparison against the A90J and A95K. I will throw those out there as well too. So I'm about to go ahead and end this video. So let me know what you guys think about this 85-inch version of the X95K. Is it something that is on your radar as in TVs to get for 2022? Do you think the Sony price is still too high for this 85-inch version? What do you think compared to the Samsung? Do you think it's a good competitor against the Samsung TV? Let me know in the comments. This is Max. I'm about to go ahead and sign off, but if you could do me a favor by hitting that like button and subscribe to the channel, it will greatly benefit me in future videos. Until next time, I'll see everyone in the next video. Take care. Bye.